Life as a Sex Worker. An audiobook by Kimmy Kay. Chapter 1. Embracing Identity. Self-acceptance and empowerment are vital aspects of the journey as a sex worker. Embracing one's identity and finding strength within oneself are crucial steps towards living a fulfilling and authentic life in this profession. Self-acceptance involves acknowledging and embracing the choices made and the path taken as a sex worker, free from judgment or shame. Empowerment as a sex worker comes from recognizing and owning one's agency in decision-making and establishing personal boundaries. It is about reclaiming control over one's body, choices, and narrative. By cultivating self-empowerment, sex workers can navigate the challenges and complexities of the industry with a sense of confidence and autonomy. Self-acceptance and empowerment allow sex workers to challenge societal stigma and misconceptions, reclaim their narratives, and foster a positive self-image. It is a process that involves acknowledging and embracing individuality, diverse identities, and the unique contributions each sex worker brings to their work. Through self-acceptance, sex workers can build a strong foundation of self-worth, cultivating a positive mindset that helps navigate the highs and lows of the profession. Empowerment enables them to advocate for their rights, access resources, and engage in collective movements striving for legal protections, improved working conditions, and social recognition. By fostering self-acceptance and empowerment, sex workers can find a sense of fulfillment, assert their rights, and contribute to the broader conversation surrounding sex work. It is an ongoing journey that encourages self-growth, resilience, and the pursuit of a fulfilling life on their own terms. Overcoming stigma and embracing individuality are transformative processes for sex workers in their personal and professional lives. The stigma surrounding sex work often stems from societal misconceptions and moral judgments, creating significant barriers for those involved in the industry. However, overcoming this stigma involves challenging societal norms and embracing the unique identities and experiences of sex workers. By actively countering stereotypes and misconceptions, sex workers can reclaim their narratives and assert their humanity. They challenge the notion that their profession defines their worth, asserting that they are multifaceted individuals with dreams, aspirations, and complex lives beyond their work. Embracing individuality means recognizing the diverse backgrounds, talents, and passions that sex workers bring to their profession, allowing them to celebrate their unique qualities. Through empowerment and self-expression, sex workers can foster a sense of pride and confidence in their work and identities. They engage in advocacy efforts, public discussions, and community-building initiatives to combat stigma and promote understanding. Embracing individuality allows sex workers to forge their paths, free from societal expectations, and to celebrate their authentic selves. Overcoming stigma and embracing individuality as a sex worker opens up opportunities for personal growth, self-acceptance, and collective solidarity. It paves the way for building inclusive communities, challenging discriminatory practices, and advocating for the rights and well-being of all individuals involved in the industry. By fostering understanding and empathy, society can move towards a more inclusive and equitable perspective, valuing the diversity and individuality of sex workers. Celebrating diversity within the sex work community is an essential aspect of fostering inclusivity, understanding, and empowerment. The sex work community comprises individuals from various backgrounds, identities, and experiences, each bringing their unique perspectives and contributions to the profession. Recognizing and celebrating diversity within the sex work community means acknowledging the intersectionality of identities such as gender, race, sexuality, ability, and more. It involves honoring the richness of experiences and the different challenges faced by individuals within the community. By embracing diversity, sex workers can build a stronger sense of solidarity and support. Celebrating diversity also means amplifying marginalized voices and experiences that are often underrepresented or overlooked. It involves creating spaces for open dialogue, listening to diverse perspectives, and actively engaging in conversations that promote inclusivity. By valuing and respecting the diversity within the sex work community, we can challenge stereotypes, combat discrimination, and work towards a more equitable society. Moreover, celebrating diversity within the sex work community helps break down internal hierarchies and foster a sense of unity. It encourages collaboration, learning from one another, and recognizing the collective strength that arises from embracing and supporting each other's differences. By celebrating diversity within the sex work community, we promote a more inclusive and compassionate society, dismantling harmful stereotypes and creating a space where every individual's experiences and voices are acknowledged and valued. Chapter 2: Navigating Relationships. Balancing personal relationships with the demands of sex work can be a complex and delicate task for sex workers. The nature of the profession often requires managing boundaries, communication, and understanding with partners, family members, and close friends. One of the key challenges lies in navigating disclosure and maintaining trust. Deciding whether and when to disclose one's involvement in sex work can be a deeply personal choice. It requires careful consideration of the dynamics within each relationship and the potential impact it may have on the individuals involved. Open and honest communication, founded on trust and respect, becomes vital in maintaining healthy relationships. Additionally, time management becomes crucial when juggling personal commitments and the demands of sex work. Balancing work schedules, emotional availability, and quality time with loved ones requires effective planning and prioritization. Setting aside dedicated moments for personal relationships helps nurture connection and intimacy. Understanding and empathy from partners, family members, and friends play a significant role in maintaining a supportive environment. It involves acknowledging the complexities of sex work, dispelling societal stigmas, and actively listening to the needs and concerns of the sex worker. Communication, trust, and understanding are essential pillars for maintaining healthy partnerships as a sex worker. Engaging in open and honest communication with partners helps foster a strong foundation of trust and ensures that both individuals' needs, boundaries, and expectations are heard and respected. Effective communication involves actively listening to each other's perspectives, concerns, and desires. It means creating a safe space where partners can express themselves without fear of judgment or misunderstanding. This open dialogue enables the sex worker and their partners to navigate the unique challenges and dynamics that may arise from their involvement in the sex work profession. Trust is crucial in any relationship and becomes even more significant in the context of sex work. Partners must cultivate trust by being reliable, supportive, and non-judgmental. Trust allows for the mutual understanding that the sex worker's choices and decisions are made with agency and autonomy. Understanding is key to maintaining a healthy partnership as a sex worker. Partners should make an effort to educate themselves about the realities and complexities of the industry. This understanding helps dispel myths, challenge stereotypes, and foster empathy. It also enables partners to provide emotional support, navigate any insecurities, and stand as allies in advocating for the rights and well-being of sex workers. Building and nurturing strong partnerships as a sex worker requires ongoing effort and a commitment to growth. It involves regular check-ins, reassessment of boundaries, and continuous communication. By fostering open communication, trust, and understanding, sex workers can establish and maintain fulfilling partnerships that support their personal and professional journey. Building support networks within the sex work community is crucial for the well-being, safety, and empowerment of sex workers. These networks provide a sense of belonging, understanding, and solidarity, allowing individuals to share experiences, seek advice, and advocate for their rights collectively. Support networks offer a platform for sex workers to connect with others who share similar experiences, challenges, and goals. By forming these connections, sex workers can find a space where they are seen, heard, and validated. They can exchange knowledge, share resources, and offer emotional support to one another. Within these networks, sex workers can access vital information about legal rights, health and safety practices, and available resources. Peer support and mentorship become invaluable as experienced sex workers guide newcomers, providing guidance and advice based on their own journeys. Support networks also play a crucial role in advocating for the rights and well-being of sex workers. By joining forces, sex workers can collectively address issues such as discrimination, stigma, and the need for improved legal protections. These networks serve as a platform for organizing events, campaigns, and lobbying efforts to promote positive change within the industry. In building support networks, it is important to prioritize inclusivity, recognizing and respecting the diverse identities and experiences within the sex work community. Intersectionality should be embraced, and spaces should be created to amplify marginalized voices. By actively participating in support networks, sex workers gain access to a strong support system that offers understanding, resources, and collective power. These networks foster resilience, empowerment, and a sense of community, contributing to the overall well-being and advocacy of sex workers. Chapter 3: Safety and Well-being. Strategies for personal safety and harm reduction are of paramount importance for sex workers, ensuring their well-being and minimizing potential risks associated with their profession. By implementing proactive measures and adopting informed practices, sex workers can enhance their personal safety and protect themselves from harm. One crucial strategy is thorough client screening. Implementing a strict screening process allows sex workers to assess potential clients for safety and compatibility. This includes verifying identification, requesting references, and conducting background checks when possible. By gathering relevant information beforehand, sex workers can make informed decisions about engaging with clients. Maintaining good communication practices is essential for safety. Clearly establishing boundaries, discussing expectations, and obtaining explicit consent before engaging in any activities are critical steps in ensuring personal safety. Effective communication allows sex workers to assert their boundaries, negotiate terms, and ensure that both parties are comfortable and consenting throughout the encounter. Working in pairs or groups can provide an additional layer of safety. By collaborating with trusted colleagues, sex workers can employ a buddy system, where they check in with each other, share information about clients, and provide mutual support. This strategy adds an extra level of security and reduces vulnerability. Utilizing technology and safety apps designed for sex workers can also be beneficial. These apps enable discreet communication, allow sharing of location with trusted contacts, and provide emergency assistance options. They can serve as valuable tools in enhancing personal safety and quick response in potentially dangerous situations. Regular health checkups and practicing safe sex are fundamental for protecting both physical and sexual well-being. Sex workers should prioritize regular screenings for sexually transmitted infections, STIs, and seek appropriate medical care when needed. Accessing resources for sexual health education, contraception, and STI prevention is crucial for maintaining personal safety and minimizing health risks. Lastly, ongoing education and training on personal safety and self-defense can empower sex workers to protect themselves effectively. Learning techniques for de-escalation, recognizing potentially dangerous situations, and developing self-defense skills can significantly enhance personal safety. By implementing these strategies and adopting a proactive approach to personal safety and harm reduction, sex workers can minimize risks, assert their agency, and prioritize their well-being in their professional lives. It is crucial for society to support and respect the safety needs of sex workers, working towards creating an environment where their rights and personal safety are valued. Addressing common misconceptions and risks surrounding sex work is essential for promoting understanding, challenging stigma, and ensuring the well-being of sex workers. By dispelling myths and providing accurate information, we can work towards a more inclusive and empathetic society. One common misconception is that all sex work is coerced or exploitative. It is important to recognize that sex work is a diverse industry with individuals engaging in the profession voluntarily and by choice. Acknowledging agency and autonomy in the decision to participate in sex work is crucial in combating stereotypes and promoting respect for sex workers' rights. Another misconception is that sex work is inherently unsafe. While there are risks associated with the profession, such as violence, stigma, and discrimination, it is important to address these issues rather than blaming sex work itself. By focusing on harm reduction strategies, promoting access to resources, and advocating for legal protections, we can work towards creating safer working conditions for sex workers. Misconceptions around the spread of sexually transmitted infections, STIs, and sex work also need to be addressed. It is important to promote accurate information about safe sex practices, regular STI screenings, and the importance of consent. By encouraging open conversations about sexual health and providing access to healthcare resources, we can help mitigate risks and promote the well-being of sex workers and their clients. Additionally, it is vital to challenge the notion that sex workers are morally inferior or deserving of less respect. Sex work is a legitimate profession, and individuals involved deserve to be treated with dignity and non-judgment. By fostering empathy, compassion, and respect for the choices and experiences of sex workers, we can create a more inclusive and supportive environment. By addressing common misconceptions and risks surrounding sex work, we can promote a more nuanced understanding of the industry and advocate for the rights and well-being of sex workers. It requires open dialogue, education, and a commitment to challenging societal biases. Through collective efforts, we can work towards a society that values the rights, safety, and dignity of all individuals, regardless of their chosen profession. Advocating for improved safety regulations and legal protections is crucial in promoting the well-being, rights, and dignity of sex workers. By advocating for comprehensive and evidence-based policies, we can work towards creating a safer and more equitable environment for individuals in the sex work industry. One of the primary goals of advocacy is to push for the decriminalization or legalization of sex work. Decriminalization removes punitive measures against sex workers and treats sex work as a legitimate profession. It allows for better access to health services, legal protections, and avenues for reporting exploitation or violence. Legalization, when accompanied by robust regulations, can also provide opportunities for safer working conditions and increased agency for sex workers. Advocacy efforts should also focus on improving safety regulations specific to the sex work industry. This includes working towards establishing standards for workplace safety, implementing measures to prevent violence and exploitation, and ensuring access to support services for sex workers. By engaging with policymakers, stakeholders, and community organizations, advocates can highlight the importance of comprehensive safety measures that prioritize the well-being of sex workers. Education and awareness campaigns play a vital role in changing public perception and combating stigma. By promoting accurate information, dispelling myths, and humanizing sex workers' experiences, advocates can challenge societal biases and foster empathy. It is essential to emphasize that sex workers have the right to fair treatment, respect, and protection, just like any other worker. Collaboration with organizations that specialize in human rights, public health, and gender equality is crucial for effective advocacy. By joining forces, advocates can amplify their voices, share resources, and work towards creating a comprehensive support system for sex workers. This collaboration can lead to the development of policies and programs that address the specific needs and challenges faced by sex workers. Ultimately, advocating for improved safety regulations and legal protections requires a comprehensive approach that combines legal, social, and health perspectives. By championing the rights of sex workers, we can strive for a society that recognizes and respects the agency, autonomy, and well-being of individuals engaged in sex work. Chapter 4: Emotional and Mental Health. The sex work profession comes with its own set of emotional challenges, and prioritizing self-care becomes crucial for the well-being and mental health of sex workers. Navigating intimate and sometimes complex interactions with clients can evoke a range of emotions that require careful attention and support. One significant emotional challenge is managing boundaries and separating personal and professional lives. Sex workers often adopt persona and role-playing to meet clients' desires and fantasies. This can create a dissonance between one's authentic self and the professional persona, leading to emotional strain. Implementing strategies to maintain a healthy sense of self, such as engaging in activities outside of work, cultivating hobbies, and seeking emotional support from trusted friends or support networks, can help mitigate this challenge. Sex work can also expose individuals to potentially traumatic situations, including violence, abuse, or harassment. Experiencing such incidents can lead to emotional distress and may require specialized support. Accessing professional counseling services, trauma-informed care, or peer support networks can provide a safe space for processing and healing from these experiences. Stigma and societal judgment surrounding sex work can also take a toll on sex workers' emotional well-being. Dealing with social rejection, discrimination, or internalized shame can contribute to feelings of isolation and low self-esteem. Engaging in self-empowerment activities, such as participating in community advocacy, engaging in self-affirming practices, or connecting with supportive peers, can help counteract these negative emotions and foster resilience. Engaging in regular self-care practices is vital for maintaining emotional balance. This can include activities such as practicing mindfulness or meditation, engaging in creative outlets, engaging in physical exercise, or seeking out therapeutic activities that provide emotional release and rejuvenation. Ultimately, recognizing and addressing the emotional challenges faced by sex workers is essential. Prioritizing self-care, seeking support, and engaging in activities that promote emotional well-being are key in navigating the emotional landscape of the profession and promoting overall mental health. Dispelling stereotypes surrounding mental health is crucial in promoting understanding, empathy, and support for sex workers. It is essential to challenge the harmful assumptions and stigmatizing narratives that perpetuate misconceptions about the mental well-being of individuals in the sex work profession. One common stereotype is the assumption that engaging in sex work automatically indicates poor mental health or trauma. This oversimplification fails to acknowledge the diverse experiences and resilience of sex workers. It is important to recognize that mental health is influenced by a multitude of factors and cannot be reduced to one's profession alone. Another stereotype is the belief that sex workers are inherently damaged or lacking agency. This dehumanizing perspective disregards the agency and autonomy of individuals in the industry. It is crucial to emphasize that sex workers, like any other individuals, have the capacity for self-determination and the ability to make informed choices about their lives and work. Dispelling stereotypes requires promoting accurate information about mental health among sex workers. Education and awareness campaigns can help challenge the misconceptions and highlight the resilience, coping strategies, and support networks that exist within the sex work community. It is important to foster an environment of empathy and non-judgment when discussing mental health. Providing accessible and non-stigmatizing mental health resources is crucial in supporting the well-being of sex workers. This can involve collaborating with mental health professionals who have an understanding of the unique challenges faced by individuals in the industry and creating safe spaces where sex workers can seek support without fear of judgment or discrimination. Ultimately, dispelling stereotypes surrounding mental health among sex workers requires recognizing their agency, diversity, and individual experiences. By promoting understanding and empathy, we can work towards creating a more inclusive and supportive society that respects and prioritizes the mental well-being of all individuals, regardless of their chosen profession. Dispelling stereotypes surrounding mental health is crucial in promoting understanding, empathy, and support for sex workers. It is essential to challenge the harmful assumptions and stigmatizing narratives that perpetuate misconceptions about the mental well-being of individuals in the sex work profession. One common stereotype is the assumption that engaging in sex work automatically indicates poor mental health or trauma. This oversimplification fails to acknowledge the diverse experiences and resilience of sex workers. It is important to recognize that mental health is influenced by a multitude of factors and cannot be reduced to one's profession alone. Another stereotype is the belief that sex workers are inherently damaged or lacking agency. This dehumanizing perspective disregards the agency and autonomy of individuals in the industry. It is crucial to emphasize that sex workers, like any other individuals, have the capacity for self-determination and the ability to make informed choices about their lives and work. Dispelling stereotypes requires promoting accurate information about mental health among sex workers. Education and awareness campaigns can help challenge the misconceptions and highlight the resilience, coping strategies, and support networks that exist within the sex work community. It is important to foster an environment of empathy and non-judgment when discussing mental health. Providing accessible and non-stigmatizing mental health resources is crucial in supporting the well-being of sex workers. This can involve collaborating with mental health professionals who have an understanding of the unique challenges faced by individuals in the industry and creating safe spaces where sex workers can seek support without fear of judgment or discrimination. Ultimately, Dispelling stereotypes surrounding mental health among sex workers requires recognizing their agency, diversity, and individual experiences. By promoting understanding and empathy, we can work towards creating a more inclusive and supportive society that respects and prioritizes the mental well-being of all individuals, regardless of their chosen profession. Chapter 5: Empowerment and Agency. Autonomy and decision-making are fundamental aspects of sex work, and recognizing the agency of individuals engaged in the profession is crucial in promoting their rights and well-being. Sex workers have the right to make informed choices about their work, negotiate boundaries, and exercise control over their bodies and services. One important principle is the acknowledgement that sex work is work. It is a valid form of labor where individuals actively engage in economic transactions and exercise agency in their decision-making. Respecting sex workers' autonomy means recognizing their right to choose the type of services they offer, set their own rates, and establish boundaries that align with their comfort levels and preferences. Empowering sex workers to make informed decisions requires access to accurate information and resources. This includes comprehensive education about sexual health, legal rights, safety measures, and available support systems. By equipping sex workers with knowledge, they can navigate their profession more effectively, make informed decisions, and protect themselves from potential risks and exploitation. Supporting autonomy also involves challenging the systems and structures that limit sex workers' choices and options. This includes advocating for the decriminalization or legalization of sex work, as criminalization often perpetuates vulnerability and marginalization. By removing legal barriers and addressing systemic inequalities, sex workers can exercise their agency and have greater control over their working conditions. It is important to recognize that autonomy is not static and can be influenced by various factors, including economic circumstances, social dynamics, and personal experiences. Supporting autonomy requires acknowledging and addressing the intersecting challenges faced by sex workers, such as poverty, stigma, and discrimination. By advocating for economic opportunities, social protections, and policies that promote equality, we can create an environment where sex workers have greater freedom to make choices that align with their goals and aspirations. Respecting autonomy in sex work is essential for fostering a more inclusive and equitable society. By recognizing the agency and decision-making capabilities of sex workers, we can challenge stigma, advocate for their rights, and work towards creating an environment where individuals engaged in sex work can exercise their autonomy and live with dignity. Setting boundaries and resisting exploitation are crucial aspects of ensuring the safety, well-being, and agency of sex workers. Establishing clear boundaries is an essential practice that allows individuals to define their comfort levels, consent to specific services, and assert their rights within the industry. One key element of boundary setting is informed consent. Sex workers have the right to freely choose the services they provide, negotiate the terms, and have control over their bodies and personal boundaries. This includes the right to say no to certain requests or activities that they are not comfortable with. By practicing informed consent, sex workers can assert their autonomy and ensure that their boundaries are respected. Effective communication skills are vital in setting and maintaining boundaries. Sex workers should be empowered to communicate their limits, preferences, and expectations with clients, partners, and within their professional networks. This can involve discussing boundaries prior to engaging in any activities, using verbal and non-verbal cues to express comfort levels during encounters, and having ongoing dialogues to address any changes or concerns that may arise. Resisting exploitation requires a supportive and empowering environment that helps sex workers recognize and respond to situations of coercion, abuse, or manipulation. This can be achieved through access to education and resources that inform them about their legal rights, support services, and reporting mechanisms. By empowering sex workers with knowledge and support, they can make informed decisions, identify and address exploitative situations, and seek assistance when needed. Building networks and solidarity within the sex work community is also essential in resisting exploitation. By forming alliances, sharing experiences, and supporting one another, sex workers can create a collective voice that challenges exploitative practices and demands fair treatment and respect. Peer-led initiatives, advocacy organizations, and support networks play a crucial role in providing guidance, resources, and solidarity for sex workers. Legislation and policies that prioritize the rights and safety of sex workers are paramount in creating an environment that supports boundary setting and resists exploitation. Decriminalization or legalization of sex work can contribute to safer working conditions, access to legal protections, and avenues for reporting exploitation or abuse. By advocating for comprehensive and inclusive policies, we can foster an environment where sex workers can set boundaries without fear of retribution and can assert their rights with confidence. In conclusion, setting boundaries and resisting exploitation are essential for the well-being and autonomy of sex workers. By practicing informed consent, fostering effective communication, providing resources and support networks, and advocating for policies that prioritize their rights, we can create a safer and more empowering environment for individuals in the sex work profession. Recognizing sex workers' work and advocating for labor rights are crucial steps towards destigmatizing the profession and ensuring the rights and well-being of sex workers. By acknowledging sex work as a legitimate form of labor, we can work towards creating a more inclusive society that respects the rights and dignity of individuals in the industry. One essential aspect of recognizing sex workers' work is understanding that it involves the provision of services in exchange for compensation. Like any other occupation, sex work requires skills, time, and effort. It is vital to challenge the societal bias that dismisses or delegitimizes sex work, and instead, acknowledge the labor that sex workers contribute to the economy. Advocating for labor rights within the sex work community involves fighting for fair working conditions, access to healthcare, and protection from exploitation and abuse. Sex workers, like any other workers, have the right to safe and non-coercive working environments, fair compensation, and protection under labor laws. By advocating for policies that address the specific needs and challenges faced by sex workers, we can ensure their rights are protected and their well-being is prioritized. Efforts to support sex workers' labor rights should include initiatives such as legalizing or decriminalizing sex work. Criminalization only perpetuates the vulnerability and marginalization of sex workers, making them more susceptible to abuse, violence, and exploitation. Legal frameworks that focus on the health, safety, and rights of sex workers can create avenues for protections, access to justice, and improved working conditions. Collective organizing and unionization efforts are vital for advancing labor rights within the sex work community. By forming unions or associations, sex workers can amplify their voices, advocate for fair working conditions, negotiate for better pay, and access social benefits and protections. Building solidarity and fostering a sense of empowerment among sex workers can lead to meaningful change and recognition of their labor rights. Education and public awareness campaigns play a significant role in challenging societal misconceptions and biases about sex work. By promoting a nuanced understanding of the profession, we can counteract stigmatizing narratives, advocate for sex workers' rights, and foster a more compassionate and inclusive society. In conclusion, recognizing sex workers' work and advocating for labor rights are essential for protecting the rights, well-being, and dignity of sex workers. By challenging stigma, supporting legal reforms, promoting collective organizing, and raising awareness, we can work towards creating a more equitable society that respects the labor and human rights of individuals engaged in sex work. Chapter 6: Intersectionality and Inclusion. Understanding the experiences of sex workers across diverse identities is essential in creating an inclusive and supportive environment within the sex work community. Recognizing the intersectionality of identities and experiences allows us to address the specific challenges faced by individuals engaged in sex work, taking into account factors such as race, gender, sexuality, disability, and socioeconomic background. It is important to acknowledge that sex workers come from various backgrounds and communities, each with their own unique experiences and perspectives. By listening to and valuing the voices of sex workers from different identities, we can gain a more comprehensive understanding of their needs, struggles, and aspirations. Intersectional advocacy is crucial for challenging systemic inequalities that disproportionately affect certain groups within the sex work community. This includes addressing issues such as racial discrimination, transphobia, ableism, and economic disparities. By recognizing the interconnected nature of these oppressions, we can work towards creating a more equitable and inclusive environment that uplifts and supports all sex workers. Engaging in culturally sensitive and responsive dialogue is vital in understanding the experiences of sex workers across diverse identities. This involves actively seeking out and amplifying the voices of marginalized communities within the sex work community, creating spaces for dialogue, and fostering collaborations with organizations that prioritize intersectional approaches. Education and awareness campaigns should encompass the experiences and struggles faced by sex workers from diverse backgrounds. This can involve providing resources, training, and workshops that address the specific challenges and vulnerabilities experienced by different communities within the sex work profession. By centering the experiences of sex workers across diverse identities, we can work towards dismantling systemic barriers, advocating for policy reforms, and fostering a more inclusive and supportive environment. Recognizing and celebrating the diversity within the sex work community not only promotes understanding and empathy but also paves the way for more inclusive advocacy and collective empowerment. Amplifying marginalized voices within the sex work industry is essential in creating a more inclusive and equitable space for all individuals involved. It is crucial to recognize that sex work intersects with various forms of marginalization, such as race, gender identity, socioeconomic status, and disability. By actively seeking out and amplifying the voices of marginalized sex workers, we can challenge systemic inequalities, advocate for their rights, and foster a more inclusive industry. One way to amplify marginalized voices is by providing platforms for them to share their stories and perspectives. This can include creating spaces for marginalized sex workers to speak at conferences, panel discussions, or media interviews. It is important to actively listen to their experiences and uplift their voices, ensuring that their narratives are heard and valued. Collaborating with advocacy organizations and community-based initiatives is another effective way to amplify marginalized voices within the industry. By working together, we can build stronger networks, share resources, and advocate for the specific needs and concerns of marginalized sex workers. This collaborative approach allows for a more comprehensive and intersectional understanding of the challenges faced by different communities. Inclusive representation within the leadership and decision-making processes of sex work organizations and initiatives is crucial. By ensuring diverse representation, including marginalized voices, we can foster more inclusive policies, programs, and advocacy efforts. This helps to address the unique struggles and barriers faced by marginalized individuals within the industry. Engaging in allyship and solidarity is also vital in amplifying marginalized voices. It is important for individuals within and outside the sex work community to actively support and uplift the voices of marginalized sex workers. This can be done through sharing their work, raising awareness about their experiences, and actively advocating for their rights. By amplifying marginalized voices within the sex work industry, we can create a more inclusive and equitable environment. This not only leads to a better understanding of the diverse experiences within the industry but also helps to challenge stigma, advocate for policy reforms, and create opportunities for collective empowerment and change. Amplifying marginalized voices within the sex work industry is essential in creating a more inclusive and equitable space for all individuals involved. It is crucial to recognize that sex work intersects with various forms of marginalization, such as race, gender identity, socioeconomic status, and disability. By actively seeking out and amplifying the voices of marginalized sex workers, we can challenge systemic inequalities, advocate for their rights, and foster a more inclusive industry. One way to amplify marginalized voices is by providing platforms for them to share their stories and perspectives. This can include creating spaces for marginalized sex workers to speak at conferences, panel discussions, or media interviews. It is important to actively listen to their experiences and uplift their voices, ensuring that their narratives are heard and valued. Collaborating with advocacy organizations and community-based initiatives is another effective way to amplify marginalized voices within the industry. By working together, we can build stronger networks, share resources, and advocate for the specific needs and concerns of marginalized sex workers. This collaborative approach allows for a more comprehensive and intersectional understanding of the challenges faced by different communities. Inclusive representation within the leadership and decision-making processes of sex work organizations and initiatives is crucial. By ensuring diverse representation, including marginalized voices, we can foster more inclusive policies, programs, and advocacy efforts. This helps to address the unique struggles and barriers faced by marginalized individuals within the industry. Engaging in allyship and solidarity is also vital in amplifying marginalized voices. It is important for individuals within and outside the sex work community to actively support and uplift the voices of marginalized sex workers. This can be done through sharing their work, raising awareness about their experiences, and actively advocating for their rights. Chapter 7: Changing Perspectives. Challenging societal biases and promoting dialogue are crucial steps towards creating a more inclusive and understanding society that respects the rights and dignity of sex workers. Society often carries deeply ingrained biases and stigmas surrounding sex work, perpetuating harmful stereotypes and misconceptions. By actively challenging these biases and encouraging open dialogue, we can foster a more compassionate and empathetic environment. One way to challenge societal biases is through education and raising awareness about the realities of sex work. By providing accurate information, sharing personal stories, and debunking myths, we can help dispel misconceptions and promote a more nuanced understanding of sex work. This can be done through workshops, public discussions, online campaigns, and media engagement. Promoting dialogue is essential in creating spaces for open and respectful conversations about sex work. This involves fostering platforms where diverse perspectives can be shared and respected, including the voices of sex workers themselves. By creating opportunities for dialogue, we can encourage empathy, challenge preconceived notions, and foster greater understanding among individuals with different viewpoints. Engaging with policymakers, lawmakers, and other influential stakeholders is crucial for challenging societal biases. By actively advocating for policy reforms that protect the rights and well-being of sex workers, we can work towards dismantling systemic discrimination and stigma. This includes calling for the decriminalization or legalization of sex work, as well as the development of supportive social and healthcare policies. Working collaboratively with organizations, activists, and allies is another effective way to challenge societal biases. By forming coalitions and partnerships, we can amplify our voices, share resources, and collectively advocate for change. Collaboration allows for a more powerful and unified response against discrimination and stigma. Media representation plays a significant role in shaping public perception. Encouraging accurate and respectful portrayals of sex workers in media can help challenge stereotypes and biases. Supporting media projects that highlight the diverse experiences of sex workers can contribute to a more balanced narrative and foster empathy among the general public. Lastly, practicing empathy and understanding in our daily interactions is vital. By approaching discussions about sex work with empathy and an open mind, we can create a safe and non-judgmental environment for individuals to share their experiences. Listening to the lived experiences of sex workers without judgment can help bridge gaps in understanding and challenge biases. In conclusion, challenging societal biases and promoting dialogue are essential for creating a more inclusive and compassionate society. By educating, raising awareness, promoting dialogue, advocating for policy reforms, collaborating with allies, influencing media representation, and practicing empathy, we can challenge harmful stereotypes and misconceptions surrounding sex work. Together, we can work towards a society that respects the rights, dignity, and well-being of all individuals involved in sex work. Education and awareness are powerful tools in reducing stigma surrounding sex work and promoting a more informed and empathetic society. Stigma stems from ignorance, fear, and societal biases, leading to the marginalization and discrimination of sex workers. By prioritizing education and raising awareness, we can challenge misconceptions, humanize sex work, and foster a more compassionate understanding. Education plays a crucial role in dispelling myths and providing accurate information about sex work. It involves sharing the realities and complexities of sex work, highlighting the diverse experiences within the industry, and addressing common misconceptions. Education can take various forms, including workshops, seminars, online resources, and educational campaigns targeted at both the general public and specific communities. Creating safe spaces for open dialogue is essential in promoting understanding and reducing stigma. By encouraging respectful conversations about sex work, we can create opportunities for individuals to ask questions, share their perspectives, and challenge their own biases. Open dialogue allows for the exchange of ideas, helps break down barriers, and promotes empathy and understanding. Including the voices and experiences of sex workers themselves is vital in education and awareness efforts. By centering the narratives of sex workers, we can provide authentic and nuanced insights into their lives, challenges, and aspirations. Platforms that amplify sex worker voices, such as podcasts, documentaries, and written works, can play a significant role in humanizing their experiences and dispelling stereotypes. Collaborating with community organizations, advocacy groups, and healthcare providers is essential in expanding educational initiatives. By working together, we can pool resources, share expertise, and reach a wider audience. Collaborations can lead to the development of targeted educational programs that address the specific needs and challenges faced by sex workers. Engaging with media outlets is crucial in shaping public perceptions and reducing stigma. Encouraging responsible and accurate reporting on sex work can counter sensationalism and challenge stereotypes. Media training for journalists and opportunities for sex workers to share their stories directly can contribute to more balanced and empathetic portrayals. Promoting sex-positive and inclusive sex education is another aspect of reducing stigma. By incorporating comprehensive and non-judgmental information about sex work into educational curricula, we can help foster a healthier and more informed understanding of human sexuality and relationships. In conclusion, education and awareness are essential in reducing stigma surrounding sex work. By providing accurate information, creating spaces for dialogue, centering sex worker voices, collaborating with organizations, engaging with media, and promoting sex-positive education, we can challenge misconceptions and foster a more compassionate and informed society. Through these efforts, we can work towards a world that recognizes the rights, dignity, and well-being of sex workers and reduces the stigma they face. Advocacy for the decriminalization and improved rights of sex workers is a crucial step towards creating a more just and equitable society that upholds the rights and dignity of all individuals involved in sex work. Decriminalization recognizes sex work as a legitimate form of labor and seeks to remove punitive laws that contribute to the marginalization and vulnerability of sex workers. By advocating for decriminalization, we can work towards ensuring the safety, well-being, and human rights of sex workers. Decriminalization allows for the regulation and protection of sex workers, creating a safer working environment. It enables sex workers to access legal protections, such as workplace safety regulations, fair labor practices, and the ability to report violence or exploitation without fear of legal repercussions. By advocating for decriminalization, we can empower sex workers to assert their rights and challenge the systemic inequalities they face. Improved rights for sex workers include access to essential services, healthcare, and social support systems. Advocacy efforts should focus on ensuring that sex workers have equal access to healthcare, including sexual and reproductive health services, HIV prevention and treatment, and mental health support. Additionally, advocating for social programs that address the unique needs of sex workers, such as housing assistance, financial literacy, and education, can help create pathways towards greater autonomy and well-being. Advocacy for improved rights should also address the intersecting forms of discrimination faced by marginalized communities within the sex work industry. This includes advocating for the rights of transgender and gender-diverse sex workers, migrant sex workers, and individuals from racial and ethnic minority backgrounds. Recognizing and addressing the specific challenges and barriers faced by these communities is essential in creating inclusive and equitable advocacy efforts. Engaging with policymakers, lawmakers, and human rights organizations is crucial in advocating for decriminalization and improved rights. By sharing research, personal stories, and evidence-based arguments, advocates can influence policy and legislative changes that prioritize the rights and well-being of sex workers. Collaboration with allied organizations, such as sex worker-led groups, feminist organizations, and human rights advocates, can amplify advocacy efforts and create a united front for change. Public awareness campaigns and grassroots organizing play a significant role in advocating for decriminalization and improved rights. By engaging with the general public, challenging stereotypes, and promoting empathy and understanding, advocates can shape public opinion and garner support for policy reforms. This can be done through media campaigns, community events, and online activism. In conclusion, advocacy for the decriminalization and improved rights of sex workers is essential in creating a more just and equitable society. By advocating for decriminalization, improved access to essential services, and social support systems, we can work towards ensuring the safety, well-being, and human rights of sex workers. Through collaboration, grassroots organizing, engaging with policymakers, and raising public awareness, we can drive meaningful change and challenge the systemic inequalities that sex workers face. Conclusion. A call for empathy, respect, and understanding towards sex workers is crucial in creating a society that upholds the rights and dignity of all individuals, regardless of their occupation. Sex workers, like any other individuals, deserve to be treated with empathy and respect, free from judgment and discrimination. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It is essential to recognize that sex workers have diverse backgrounds, experiences, and reasons for entering the profession. By cultivating empathy, we can move beyond preconceived notions and seek to understand the unique challenges and choices that sex workers face. Respect is the foundation of any inclusive and equitable society. It involves recognizing the agency and autonomy of sex workers and valuing their contributions to society. Respecting the choices and experiences of sex workers means acknowledging their rights, supporting their access to healthcare and social services, and advocating for policies that protect their safety and well-being. Understanding is key to dispelling misconceptions and challenging stereotypes surrounding sex work. It requires actively seeking knowledge, engaging in open dialogue, and listening to the voices and experiences of sex workers themselves. Understanding the complexities and nuances of the sex work industry can help break down barriers and foster a more compassionate and informed society. By promoting empathy, respect, and understanding towards sex workers, we can contribute to the dismantling of stigma and discrimination. This involves advocating for the decriminalization of sex work, supporting policies that protect the rights and safety of sex workers, and challenging societal biases through education and awareness campaigns. It also requires addressing the intersecting forms of oppression that sex workers may face based on their gender identity, race, nationality, or socioeconomic status. In conclusion, a call for empathy, respect, and understanding towards sex workers is a call for a more inclusive and compassionate society. By cultivating empathy, showing respect, and seeking to understand the experiences of sex workers, we can challenge stigma, promote their rights, and contribute to a more equitable and just world for all. Encouraging open dialogue and challenging stereotypes surrounding sex work is vital in fostering understanding, dispelling myths, and promoting a more inclusive society. By creating spaces for open and respectful conversations, we can break down barriers and challenge the deeply ingrained stereotypes that often surround the sex work industry. Open dialogue allows for the sharing of diverse perspectives, experiences, and knowledge. It provides an opportunity for individuals to ask questions, seek clarification, and challenge their own assumptions about sex work. By engaging in meaningful conversations, we can bridge the gap between misconceptions and reality, fostering empathy and understanding. Challenging stereotypes requires actively debunking myths and misinformation surrounding sex work. It involves educating ourselves and others about the complexities of the industry, including the diverse reasons people engage in sex work and the range of experiences within the profession. By challenging stereotypes, we can humanize sex workers, acknowledge their agency, and recognize their rights. Promoting open dialogue and challenging stereotypes also involves amplifying the voices of sex workers themselves. Centering the narratives and experiences of sex workers allows for authentic and nuanced insights into their lives, struggles, and triumphs. By providing platforms for sex workers to share their stories, we can counteract harmful stereotypes and foster a more accurate and compassionate understanding of their realities. It is important to approach discussions about sex work with empathy and respect, acknowledging the diversity of experiences within the industry. By creating a non-judgmental and inclusive environment, we can encourage individuals to share their perspectives, challenge their own biases, and contribute to a more nuanced dialogue. In conclusion, encouraging open dialogue and challenging stereotypes surrounding sex work is essential in promoting understanding and dismantling stigma. By engaging in meaningful conversations, educating ourselves, amplifying sex worker voices, and fostering empathy and respect, we can contribute to a more inclusive and informed society that recognizes the rights and dignity of all individuals involved in sex work. Supporting the rights and well-being of sex workers globally is a critical endeavor that requires collective action, advocacy, and a commitment to human rights. It is essential to recognize that sex work exists in various forms and contexts worldwide, and addressing the needs and rights of sex workers is paramount for creating a just and inclusive society. Supporting the rights of sex workers entails advocating for the decriminalization of sex work, as criminalization often leads to increased vulnerability, exploitation, and human rights abuses. It involves promoting policies that protect the safety, health, and dignity of sex workers, including access to healthcare, legal protections, and social services. Furthermore, supporting the well-being of sex workers requires addressing the systemic issues that contribute to their marginalization, such as poverty, stigma, and discrimination. This includes advocating for economic empowerment, educational opportunities, and social support networks that help sex workers thrive and lead fulfilling lives. Recognizing the agency and autonomy of sex workers is paramount in supporting their rights and well-being. It involves valuing their voices, experiences, and choices, and ensuring their meaningful participation in policy discussions and decision-making processes. Additionally, supporting the rights and well-being of sex workers globally necessitates engaging with international human rights frameworks and collaborating with organizations and activists working towards sex worker rights. By amplifying their voices, advocating for legal protections, and challenging societal norms and prejudices, we can contribute to a more equitable and inclusive world. In conclusion, supporting the rights and well-being of sex workers globally requires comprehensive efforts aimed at decriminalization, access to healthcare and social services, economic empowerment, and challenging stigma and discrimination. By advocating for policy reforms, engaging with international human rights frameworks, and fostering dialogue and understanding, we can work towards a society that respects and upholds the rights and dignity of all individuals involved in sex work. Thank you for taking the time to listen to Life as a Sex Worker, an audiobook authored and narrated by Kimmy Kay. Your willingness to engage with this important and often misunderstood topic demonstrates your openness, empathy, and commitment to understanding diverse human experiences. By listening to this audiobook, you have shown a genuine interest in gaining insight into the realities, challenges, and triumphs of individuals involved in the sex work profession. Your willingness to explore the complexities and nuances of their lives contributes to breaking down stigma and promoting a more compassionate and inclusive society. I believe my personal experiences and storytelling has provided a unique perspective on the multifaceted aspects of sex work, shedding light on the diverse journeys, motivations, and struggles faced by sex workers. Through my narration, I have tried to humanize the individuals behind the profession, highlighting their agency, resilience, and the importance of recognizing their rights and dignity. Your support and engagement in listening to Life as a Sex Worker contribute to fostering a culture of understanding, empathy, and respect. By actively seeking knowledge and challenging preconceptions, you are playing a crucial role in dispelling stereotypes and promoting dialogue around this often marginalized and stigmatized profession. Once again, thank you for your open-mindedness and willingness to engage and listen to my audiobook, Life as a Sex Worker. Your support and compassion contribute to a more inclusive and empathetic society, where diverse voices are valued and understood.